Hi, my name is Monica Fernandes. Here at Evolution Essentials, I want you to love yourself first. That's why I teach people how to lead a wellness lifestyle with holistic tools such as essential oils and Reiki. So you too can have more love, more health, and more balance in your life. I felt inspired to connect with my loved ones, my friends, and contacts all over the world. They are experts in their field. I wanted to share with you our conversations and how we deal with stress and crisis. So if at any moment in your life you're feeling down, this show is for you. Well, hello, Sandra Bensaude.
Hi, Monica.
Well, I'm so excited that you are here with me today. You are my cousin that I love so much, which is a bonus. But I'm really interested in sharing these experiences on how we deal with stress and crisis, and how you personally deal with it, and what you maybe have had experiences with your clients on how they deal with stress and crisis. And I wanted to start off with asking you to introduce yourself. I mean, I've already introduced yourself, but in terms of just, for people that don't know you, just give a little bit of information on what you do.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you for this because I also felt that there was a need to do something. And you know me, and so you know that I like to help. So, how to introduce myself? Let me see. I feel like, well, one thing that I do is help people. Now, I have two ways of doing this. I have the way that I deal with the company. I have a company that has corporate services for other companies where there's chair massage and yoga and Pilates and so on. And then I give consultations, which I call Wellbeing by Sandra. And I incorporate different modalities that I use. I use EFT, which is emotional freedom techniques, matrix reimprinting, emotional code, and also biofeedback, which is with an equipment. So that's what I do. And I deal with clients from Portugal to the States, Chile, with Zoom, it's amazing.
That's awesome. Can you tell us a little, for people that don't know what those modalities are, can you just very quickly dumb it down for me?
Okay, well, EFT, emotional freedom techniques, it's a fantastic self-help tool that uses cognitive, somatic, and energy, because it deals with the thoughts, what we think, what our beliefs are. Somatic, because it has to do with tapping. We tap on meridian points. And energetic,
so it works with acupuncture
yes,
points, correct?
Exactly. Acupuncture points, but with no needles, and you don't have to be as precise as with needles, okay?
That's good.
Yes.
Fantastic.
It is. The matrix reimprinting came from, it's, let's say, an advanced part of EFT. It's something different, but it came from EFT. And it's working with a way of also working kind of with your inner child, part of you that when you have a traumatic experience, stays still, and it's how you work with it. So you need to do EFT to do that.
Okay.
Okay. The emotional code is another energetic tool, because the emotions they're buried in your body, so you can get them out, and you use a magnet to do that. There's a test that you do. And then the biofeedback, which I have been right now I've been working a lot with EFT, because it's something I can teach people to do, and that's very important to empower them. And I've also been working a lot with the biofeedback machine, which you can do at a distance, which is amazing.
Wow.
And it does energetic scans of your body, of your feelings, of the emotions, everything, and it gives the frequencies that the body needs. So basically, it helps the body, because when you come down to it, nobody heals anybody. It's you. You heal yourself. It's the body.
We are the ultimate healers. That's true.
Exactly. So what I do is that I just give tools or help people remove the stress, so that the body can heal itself.
So speaking of emotions, I have to tell you that I wore orange for you, and I'm gonna explain why. because orange vibrates with the sacral chakra, which deals with emotions. In our, Reiki world, the energy work world, where everything flows. That's where everything sort of, the seat of your emotions is what
Mhm.
the sacral chakra is. So it's the orange is to represent that. And I'm wearing neroli, which also is the blossom of the orange blossom essential oil that also vibrates with the emotions. It's very uplifting, and I'm drinking some wild orange, which is orange,
Yes.
in my water. So all because I knew that you deal with emotions with people, and whether we're in pandemic times or not,
Mhm.
it is very, very normal for people to experience emotions that don't feel so good. And so uh, before we get into how examples on how that you can give to people on certain things, I wanted to ask you how you personally deal with stress and crisis.
That's funny. Well, thanks for the orange. I like orange.
You're
That was
welcome.
good. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. How do I deal with stress? Well, I use my tools. I mean, I use EFT a lot, and I
Hmm.
also use the biofeedback machine. Um, but it sounds like, that's when I remember, because usually when you're under stress, and it's not big stress, usually now we have big stress, so we're doing all these things. It's
Yes.
the day-to-day things that really get to you. Um, and in the day-to-day, you kind of forget to do things because things are kind of going along. And
Hmm.
I do things and I have to like write down things,
Hmm.
to-do list, but it's a to-do list for my well-being because we have a tendency, or I used to have a tendency to put other people's priorities ahead of mine, and it's like, oh no, I'll take care of myself later. And if I don't
Well,
schedule it
you're a natural helper, so that's
in, it
right.
is. It is. Like right now, I'm lucky that I'm doing exercise in the morning. There's this professor that I used to go to, this teacher, this fitness teacher, and she has on Instagram from 9 to 10, and I'm doing it from 9 to 10.
So basically, you're scheduling that self-care.
Yes. And in this time of pandemic that everything is upside down and most of the people are home, it's very important to schedule because you can stay in your pajamas all day
That's
long.
right.
You need to schedule, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And also the to-do list is also to do things that you like to do, that gives you pleasure.
Because that sort of increases your vibration and your frequencies and everything, right?
Of course it does, and that's what you want to do now.
Yeah.
I, for instance, try not to see the news. I don't watch the news, very little. If I want to hear about the news, I'll listen a little bit and that's it, because it's just going to bring me down. I know the basics, but I don't get involved in that. I try to see or read books that are funny, because for me, humor is very important. And I like that because it lifts me up. So I'm trying to do these things, and I've been doing these things, and it's been working. I
Hmm.
want to tell you something funny that happened.
Yeah.
Funny,
Yeah.
but it's not funny. It's just that, okay, like I said, I have two businesses.
Hmm.
One is corporate services in a
Yes.
company, and it's yoga, chair massage, pilates. So all person-to-person contact. So in 3 days when this started,
Yes.
here, I lost all my corporate accounts.
Wow.
Now, exactly wow. I was totally amazed that I didn't go, wow. I went, okay, this is an opportunity, and I felt excited. Don't ask me why. I
Hmm.
just felt that this is what I needed to give me a boost to not change myself, because I like to, you know me, I like to change, I like to innovate. And so what I did is like, okay, I've been doing EFT with clients, but I
Hmm.
never told the companies I do that. Or did
Interesting.
yes, or did I think they'd be open to it? Because from my experience, like in 2000, when I started the chair massage business here
Hmm.
in Portugal,
Yes.
um, they were not ready. They said, no, what are you talking about? So I did other things, and I came back in 2004. And then I was able to get in the companies. So it's something new. So now with this happening, I already started offering these services. I put it out there.
Yes.
I already had one company that said yes, we were interested. So for me, it's like a new thing. And
so you're taking this as an opportunity, and
yes.
basically your focus, instead of your focus being, what could happen is, the, oh my God, doom and gloom, what am I going to do? Which I think that a lot of people are going through that. And you shifted it, and you're like, oh my God, this is an opportunity.
Yeah, and totally going out of my comfort zone. Well, I do have EFT to help me with that because, I'm not, doing a webinar or something like that. That was not something I thought I was going to do. And I did it. I think it went well. I enjoyed myself, which was so funny. I was like, I did have a good time. I really liked it. And I'm excited with life, which is, we're in a situation that everything's down, and I'm excited.
Well, it's funny because, when you're doing something that you love, that you're enjoying, that vibrates with balance and health, and you automatically feel better yourself because you are enjoying it. And so you probably want to do more of it because you enjoy it.
Yeah, but there's something that came before the pandemic. I mean, there was some time to hear reflection about my life or what's going on. I think we all go through that.
Yeah.
Different ages, different times in our lives. And I was questioning certain things about myself. And I do recall trying to do everything. The things that I do for the pandemic, I do also before it. One of the things I do is being grateful, the grateful list. And it could be as simple as at night I go to bed, it says, I'm so grateful of this bed.
Are you writing this down, or are you saying it as an affirmation?
I say it as an affirmation, as a feeling, but I'm going to start writing it down.
Yes.
I think it'd be very important. I don't write things down. And I think that might be a new thing for me, to write things down.
Yes.
A different way of doing it. But I do, I get pleasure. I am lucky that I get pleasure out of small things of life. So, and when I don't feel well, or feel under, that's what I try. Try to be grateful, even if it's a rotten day, because we all have these days.
Absolutely,
I don't care
absolutely.
how much things you do or self-improvement or whatever you want to. I'm human, like anybody else. It's just to remember to do little things every day to, help out.
So, like, if you had to pinpoint, I'm not talking about like this times, but in general, how do you go, like, what do you fear the most?
What do I fear the most?
Yeah.
One thing I fear the most, not be able to take care of myself financially.
Yes.
That has always been a big one.
Yes.
But I'm not feeling that.
So my next question was going to be, what are you most hopeful for? Because that kind of...
What am I hopeful for? I hope, my hope is not for things, it's for feelings. I hope to feel more and more centered, more and more me, the true me.
Yes.
That's what I hope for. So
yeah. That's awesome. So do you, you mentioned earlier about laughing, and I wanted to ask, because I mean, you and I have laughed so much throughout the years, but I wanted to kind of just, do you have any recommendations if somebody needs to laugh?
I don't know. I know this because my company has a service which is yoga for laugh. I don't know if you have it there.
Yes, we do. We have laughter yoga. I've never done it, but it's
very interesting. It's very, because it goes through. It's you laugh, ha ha ha, from different centers of the chakras.
Yeah,
and absolutely. It has different sounds, and if you start laughing, if you hear somebody laugh, even if you don't feel like laughing, usually you will just start laughing. It is contagious.
It's contagious.
I try when I need to laugh, and if I can't, I try to watch movies that will make me laugh. Little skits
Something,
on
a
YouTube.
comedy or something like that.
Something that I like. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because for me, laughter is very important.
Well, I think laughter like just creates the vibration, because in the body itself is vibrating when you're laughing, and automatically sort of, you know, laughing is the manifestation of joy in a way, you know?
And joy is one of the highest
Vibrations.
I mean, the love. I think it's above love. I think joy. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
I think so. It is. Love is. I think it's at 500, and I think joy is above that. And
wow. Well, joy is probably something that is more of I imagine that it's not something that is very stagnant.
no.
I don't know. So it's joy is sort of like a buildup, you know, and I feel love as something very steady. So
Yeah,
I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't know anything about, you know, the frequencies of these things, but I feel like, you know, laughing is not, you're not laughing 24 hours a day. So
no, but laughing, yeah, but laughing is a part of joy or some kind of joy. I just heard something from Brene Brown. Do you know her?
yes,
I
yes,
love her. I love her.
yes,
And
yes.
she was saying that one of the most terrifying feelings, emotions, is joy. And she said, you know
Why?
what? Why? For instance, if you talk to parents, have little kids, whatever, they say that the parents have all this joy at night, looking at the kids sleeping, but then comes this thought, oh my God, if something happens to them. So we are afraid to feel joy all the time because we're thinking, if, you know, while you're having joy, something's going to happen and I'm going to be disappointed or I'm going to be hurt. I thought that was very interesting because that feeling that the other shoe is going to drop when everything's going well, when you're just, okay, what's going to happen? And
it's almost like the expectation that something is going to be bad, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I mean, the universe is made up of ups and downs, right? I mean, it's that makes sense to have that sort of fear for your loved one, right? If you're and be like, oh my God, almost feeling guilty that you're experiencing joy in that moment, maybe.
Yeah.
But
and another thing that I've been learning is that I used to be a person that needed a lot of approval from other people, so to validate myself. And with the work that I've been doing, I'm more validating myself. I'm not narcissist or anything like that. Actually, it's a funny feeling because you kind of feel selfish sometimes, but it's like I'm okay with myself. And then, so like that, you're not so dependent on the outside. Of course, I like to have a relationship. Of course, I love my friends. Of course, I like all that, none of that. But it doesn't define who I am if I have them or I don't. And there's some kind of I'm going to say contentment, but it's not really that. It's serenity. It's when you have that. I don't always have that, but there's a lot of times that I've noticed is I am perfectly happy just here by myself or whatever I'm doing.
You're perfectly at peace when you are.
At peace. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's reminded me a little bit of the sort of the gas tank or the oxygen tank. If you're not full, you can't really properly give to others. So if you have to, like, it's not a selfish thing to fill up your tank, because you need that tank full to be able to the overflow to give to others. I always equate that.
When you're not used to that, you think that the emotion that you're feeling could be selfish.
Interesting. Yes. It's you know, the pure balance of the heart to be in total harmony with relationship to self, and there's nothing selfish about that.
I know, but
it's part of self-care, like you said.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but you kind of have to work on it. It's funny because you have to catch yourself. Like, okay, what am I feeling? You know, Not that I'm always, I don't agree on always analyzing everything. For me, that doesn't work. I mean,
Yes.
you just have to live.
Mm-hmm.
But certain times, yeah, why am I doing this? Why am I not? But just
Mm-hmm.
try to live the best you
I
can.
feel like we women especially, we tend to be so hard on ourselves. Don't you feel that? I always equate that sometimes men, they don't have those, they're more self-accepting in a lot of ways. I don't know if it has to do with the programming or, I don't know. I'm not sure. And I'm totally generalizing here.
Yes, of course. Everybody's different. But it probably has to do with the upbringing. You know,
Yeah.
women, you were supposed to be caregivers.
Hmm.
That was our role.
Yes.
And men were supposed to work, and I mean, but the
Provide,
guys,
right?
poor thing, provide. They also were told, don't show your feelings. I mean, at least we talk and we say what's going on, or how we're feeling. Probably they are, but they just bury it and don't talk about it because
That's
men
true.
don't talk about it. So I don't,
Hmm.
each gender has its own.
Hmm.
I don't know how to put
Yeah.
that.
Sort of
Yeah,
tendencies, if you will, right?
yeah.
And I do feel like it has to do with expectations and that programming, the upbringing. A lot of this stuff that I'm sure that you deal with EFT, for example, is you have to kind of dig deep down, and the emotion code, dig deep down.
No,
No?
emotional code I don't have to deep down at
No.
all.
So with the EFT, would you? Do you?
Well, yes and no, because I can do EFT. Like if you have something happen to you and the emotion is very strong, we can bring it down without even talking about that. Just
Mhm.
going through the body sensations. Okay, because EFT is something which is fantastic. It's a very gentle technique. And techniques, because it's emotional freedom techniques, plural, because we have different technique to use depending on each case. What I do notice, going back on the male and female, is that male have a harder time defining emotions. When we're working, they have a hard time, and most of my male clients, and they're a little more detached from what they feel.
Interesting.
It's like there's a barrier. There's
Mhm.
certain women also that have that barrier. As I say, okay, so anger, okay, you're feeling angry. Where do you feel in your body? Usually, men says, I don't know. I don't feel it anywhere. It is interesting.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I think there's so much. I mean, it seems like, those techniques help, really someone finding themselves more or learning more about themselves too.
Yeah, and what EFT also does, it just brings down the stress, which is the most important thing you can do in any situation. And now even more because, as you know, if we're stressed and chronic stress, always in alert, our immune system suffers. It weakens
Absolutely.
it. So if
Absolutely.
you do an EFT, you bring down the stress level, and your immune system will feel better. There's actually a very interesting study that was done on EFT for the stress. There's over 100 studies done for the EFT.
Hmm.
I mean, it started like EFT is like from 1995, but recently, years 2000, started to have scientific studies of it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And one of them was done with cortisol, the hormone, by the saliva. They just got a group of 3 groups of people that they took the saliva test for the
Hmm.
cortisol, measured it, then one group they did 101 EFT for an hour, and then the other group 101 psychoeducation, talking about stress and how it affects you and whatnot. And another group did nothing. 30 minutes after the test, the intervention was done,
Yes.
they did the test again. The psychoeducation, the other one got about 14% decrease of cortisol, EFT 24%.
Wow, that's a huge
Now,
difference.
no, but there's even more now. And
Okay.
recently there's this Dr. Peter Stapleton in Australia. She's a psychologist at Bond University, and she wanted to replicate that study. But instead of having individuals, she did it in groups. So
Okay.
there's 1 hour of same procedure of saliva before and after. So a group of people doing EFT together for an hour, okay? A group of people being taught about stress and whatnot, and a group of people reading magazines or whatever. The ones with the education, the psychoeducation and the reading was like 19.5% decrease. The group EFT, 43%.
That's significant.
That is very significant. There's something about borrowing benefits with EFT. That's why group EFT works so well.
That's awesome.
It is.
We are so connected, you know. We're so connected. That just shows you that, you know, we're when in groups it's very powerful.
It is. It's like borrowing benefits. We call it in EFT borrowing benefits. I can be tapping on something. Tapping is what we call about touching the points for people who don't know. About a pain in my neck or something or a problem of mine, and you can repeat what I'm saying, but you already, you know, beforehand you wrote down what your issue was and what the intensity of the issue was. At the end, most likely, your intensity of the issue that you had came down. And we didn't even talk about what was going on with you. It's amazing. It is
incredible.
Amazing. It is. It is.
So Sandra, to wrap it up a little bit, I wanted you to, you know, share with us, you know, 5 tips that you recommend or have for dealing with stress and crisis.
Okay. Of course, I would talk about EFT, tapping, very important. I also talk about what I said about the gratitude. Write down, like you said, writing down, I guess, is better. Things you're grateful for. It could be 5 things a day at night before you go to bed. And it could be as small as the coffee was great, whatever you want. I also tell my clients to do Donna Eden, you know,
yes,
medicine energy.
The energy medicine.
Yes, energy medicine, her 5-minute routine, which is very good. And in this time, I suggest people not to stay glued at the TV watching the news. Try to cut down just to see it once a day, short. If you can listen and not see the images, I don't know how it is there.
It's constant here, so.
Okay, here's constant, and the images are kind of graphic sometimes, in hospitals. No, and try to do something that brings joy to your soul, that fulfills your soul. You know, that's extremely important. Apart from that, I personally take vitamins, vitamin D and vitamin C, but I'm not a doctor, nor a psychologist or anything like that. But just eat healthy or something.
Yes, taking care of the inside part, right?
Yeah, but also be forgiving if you eat things you're not supposed to. I mean, we're already under a lot of stress now, so.
Yes, I can understand that.
Yeah, because you want comfort food when these things are going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you're talking about limiting the news and everything, because that's one of my tips. Limiting the news, because it can be so overwhelming.
Yes.
And even not in regular times, it can be overwhelming, you know, because it's all so very, it seems so very, what's the word? Just expanded, you know, it's just so.
It amplifies what's going on.
It amplifies it, yes.
It's like.
Exactly. So.
We don't need that right now.
I agree with you. Just short times, or even, you know, without images, that would be, you know, perfect. So, well, listen, Sandra, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And I will leave in the description all of your links on how people can get in touch with you. And I just wanted to say thank you so much.
Thank you. I really enjoyed myself.
Well, this is great. We're talking about joy, so it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
It is.
Well, my friend, my cousin, my love, I love you.
Love you
too.
too.
And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. See you next time.